My name's Mike Hunter. I'm the owner of Hunter Tools and a member of the Minnesota Woodturners Club. This morning, Bob Meyer and myself are going to demonstrate how to turn a Christmas ornament, or at least how we turn our Christmas ornaments. To show you several examples, this particular ornament was made by Johnny Tolley down in Texas. And the globe is mesquite, and the finial and the icicle are holly. The next one is one globe that I really like. This is more or less my favorite type of globe. This one was turned by Bob Roseanne. The globe itself is about a 2 to 2¼ inch diameter, and maybe 1¼ to 1.5 inches thick at the most. And then it's got a lot of fine detail on the finial, and a lot of fine detail on the icicle. And then for those who want to get creative, this was turned by Dennis Liggett in Colorado, and then his wife Kay did the embellishment of the Christmas ornament, and I think that's just a nice, pleasant ornament to look at. So with that, I'm going to put these out of the way for safekeeping. And I'm going to bounce back and forth just to show you some of the tools that I'll be using. For measuring the globe, these are some gauges that are made by Johnny Tolley down in Austin, Texas. Anybody that's interested in purchasing some of these, send me an email and I'll put you in contact with Johnny. You know, other types of gauging that you already have are easy to use, so whatever you have works just fine. Some of the tools that I'll be using. This is the Viceroy tool. It's a good general purpose tool directed to the brand new and to the intermediate wood turner. For some finish cuts, this is what we call the osprey. And Bob, I think you'll be using the osprey quite a bit during the icicle turning. And then for the hollowing portion, this is what we call the #1 taper straight. And then there's a #1 taper back tool, which is specifically for getting underneath the shoulder. And then, you know, you always have to have a parting tool of some sort to utilize.
So Mike, where would I get those tools from?
Locally, you can purchase these from Woodcraft down in Bloomington, or from Hunter Tool Company right here in town. A couple of other tools that I use, we will be using is, this is a 5/8 diameter drill, Forstner bit. And then I'm a big user of negative rake scrapers. So these are basically just some skews that I've ground some edges on that you know, are suitable for my needs. And I've got this is what we're going to use to turn our globe out of. This, what do you call this kind of wood?
Strataply.
This Strataply is what we're going to use today to turn our globe. It's glued onto a waste block. Other way to do it is, looks like a piece of maple. You know, we're just turning it right out of the block itself. First thing I want to do is turn the block around. And I want roughly a 2¼ inch diameter, roughly a 2¼ inch diameter globe. Get myself up on center line. I think I'm at center line yet. But we're starting to get this round. And my the measurement I'm looking for is roughly 2 1/4 to 2 3/8. The tool I'm using is the #1 Viceroy 1/2 inch shaft. We're getting vibration noise on account of the waste block is long, plus the Strataply is fairly long. This is set at 2 3/8. Okay, looks like we're almost there. So I've got a globe that's about 2 3/8 in diameter. I want to make it roughly 1.5 inches in height altogether, top to bottom. So I'm going to draw a middle mark of about 3/4 of an inch. Well, I don't know if that shows up on the camera, but that's going to be our marks. This is going to be the middle of the ornament, obviously the top and or the bottom, and the other top and or bottom is down at this point here. So first thing that I always do is just kind of start shaping the round, the top of the ornament. So kind of like turning a sphere, you set your tool rest at roughly the 30 or 45 degree angle. So then you start connecting the center line to this angle. And then connecting down to what's going to be the top of the globe. And I like to use negative rake scrapers, so this is just going to be kind of a rough pass. For my final form. And then for reference, I'm going to, this is going to be the bottom of the globe here, so I'm just going to remove some material in here so I've got some room to work. So that's my actual bottom of the globe. Nice to have a long lathe. You can put all the tools on the bed. Okay. Okay, we're going to start the hollowing process, and we're not going to get this too thin back here because with the hollowing, you know, with the tool pressure, you don't want this to break off back here. So we want to keep some thickness on this, and we will refine the final outside diameter of the ornament globe once we've got the hollowing done. So. I've got my cord tangled up here for one. Bob, can you get that out from underneath me there? Okay, thank you. So let's drill a hole. This Forstner bit, I've got this set up at about it's just about a total of 1.25 inches, 1.125 inches for the depth of my drilled hole. And I've got to turn the speed turned down. I generally like to have about 500 RPM when using the Forstner bit, especially this one that is dull. Always a good idea, drill in about 1/4 inch. Back it out, let the chips clear. And let's see here. Makes it a little safer. We'll clear the chips again. Another 1/8, there's a 1/16. Okay, we are at our depth for the drill. Okay, so now we're ready to start the hollowing process. Our globe diameter, again, is about 2 1/4, about 1.5 inches deep, and we've drilled a hole roughly 1 1/8 to 1 1/4 deep. So we'll take, this is what we call the #1 taper straight tool. And to use this tool, you always want to run the tool at about a 45-degree angle. You don't want to run it flat because it'll self-feed when you run it flat. So always turn it at about the 45-degree angle. And I'm up around, well, there's 1400 RPM. So we'll just go down and find the bottom, and there's a bottom down there somewhere. And we just do light cuts. There's a pull cut. There's a push cut. A pull cut. And a push cut. A pull. And another push. Now when you pull the tool out, this is where a lot of mistakes are made. You know, the drilled hole is 5/8, and if you hit touch the sidewalls on the drilled hole, you know, all of a sudden you're going to get a drilled hole of 3/4, or even, you know, ruin the ornament. Always stop the tool, the hollowing process often, and clear out the chips. And this is just the straw that I use. You can see, you know, I'm reaching further. Further into the ornament, getting a wider, into the wider section. And let's see where we're at. I know we'll still have a long ways to go on the ornament process, hollowing process, but so right now we're still, what, maybe a 1/2 inch thick on the inside of the ornament. So now I'm going to take what we call the back tool. With this back tool, I'm going to back it up a little bit because we always want to ride on the shaft of the tool. We don't want to ride on the hook. And then see how this cutter is angled right straight back to the shaft. So in essence, you've got your tilt angle already built into the tool. So just be careful getting the tool in and out. So there's push cut and a pull cut. Push cut and a pull cut. Careful getting it out. Clean the tips. And it's always a good idea to measure, see just where you're at. So now we're down to about 3/8 roughly, wall thickness. Clean the chips out. And then measure again. So now we're down there to, what is that, roughly 1/8 of an inch, slightly over 1/8 maybe. One advantage of this back tool, if you do the math, this is 2 1/4 inch wide. The radius on here is 5/8. So when you are doing the full cut here, if you're holding the tool parallel with the ways, it's impossible for this cutter to go through the sidewalls. And my final cuts are just going to be riding the tool. See how I'm riding the tool with the on the hook? And I can tell there's no more wood really that hook, with the dimension of the hook there, that can be removed. So let's clean it out. And actually, if your fingers are small enough, you can go in there and figure out where those rough spots are, but otherwise you can just go through and feel any high points or low points with your tool. And that really feels pretty good. So there's a little ridge right in the very back, and I'm going to go in with the straight tool and get that little ridge out. So I think we're good there. All right, so now what's left is just to refine the outside edge till you're happy with it. So to refine the outside edge, the easiest way is just look right straight down on the globe, and you can see all your high points and your low points. Yep. Once again, at this point, you don't want to get that real thin yet. How's that look on the screen, Dick? From here it seems to look pretty good. So take this neck down a little more. Okay, and I'm down roughly, let's see where I'm at on that neck dimension. I want to be just below 5/8, which is where I'm at now. Because what I'll do, I'll take the drill and drill through the bottom, and the globe will just fall out on on the drill itself. But before we do that, I'm going to refine the edges. I'd say just a little bit off of this area right here. Little sandpaper. Slow everything down. And I think there's still a high point right here. Let me see if we can fix that a little bit. And we'll work our way through the grits. I should have some 180 in here somewhere. There. Little 220. Got some 320 in here somewhere. Give it a once over. Okay, I think everything looks pretty good. And then what I like to use for finishing, this is some wood scrubber, similar to Yorkshire grit. And I bought this from Steve at our club. And all these fine little fuzzies that are on, on the wood after sanding, the wood scrubber helps to remove those and put some nice little polish onto this turning. It doesn't take long to do. And then just wipe it off. Give it a final inspection. I think we're good to go. So now all we need to do is just remove it. Okay, so we'll turn the speed back down. There's 500, a little over. And we're just going to drill it out. Okay. So the ornament is done. and ready for the finial and icicle. And then this is a plumber's reamer, and I always just like to take that, just kind of run that around and remove any rough marks in there. But you know, we've got a nice ornament globe there ready to go. So with that, Bob, I'll turn it over to you.